technically leaves on POI, but the extreme is also on POI. So which point of interest would you pick on just a structure level? And that's where the funny thing literally comes in. And these people, they literally tell you, oh, no, both are valid. Whatever, just sometimes this point will work out, but sometimes it comes to the extreme. But what type of explanation of that? If they literally split it into two zones because they literally don't know what's going on. And that's where the problem with structure comes into, because again, sometimes, yes, it is very clean. You only have one point of interest and it taps into that. Congratulations, it worked. But what if it's not that clean? And like literally 90% of the cases, we have multiple points of interest and the structure will help you shit. But of course, then at some point it will work. And that's the example they show you and say, oh yeah, it tapped into that because this. So, but that's not the truth. Again, as you should see, for example, this can happen like this, where it taps into here, gives some sort of reaction, smokes into it and taps into here. But also it can happen something like this. But again, structure will not help you finding out the reasons of why this will be the case. Of course, it can help you finding some sort of these points of interest after some sort of Koch, whatever, depending on how the structure looked like in here, right? But it will not tell you of what zone will work and what not. That's why intraday trading will give you a very, very, very good directional bias and what to expect and what sort of zones to not expect will work out. Okay. Cam?
Yep. So exactly like you said, you know, the most funny part is when they have two or more POIs and they just split the risk and enter on them all, and then they call it risk management and trade management, and it's all just a game of probabilities. So as you can see, in this case, you know, they split the risk. So let's say they're risking 1%. You know, you risk 1/3 here, 1/3 here, 1/3 here. And the thing is, this one gets smoked. This one even gives them a reaction so that, oh yeah, this was the one. This is why I split the risk. And then obviously they both get smoked. And they're left, oh, even down here as well, they're left crying. And this is made no more obvious than this slide right here.
Just leave it. Let's leave it in this one, Cam.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is just an illustration. Again, you maybe think that's over accelerated. And again, the next slide, we will show you of why it's literally not. Again, in hindsight, they make it look like pretty obvious, but it's literally not. Again, like if you just look at these Kochs, change of characters of how they say it. Again, this is the push that led to the high. Awesome. Okay, gets broken here. Awesome. Okay, so they switching again the bias. Oh, I have my extreme mitigation thing and I have my whatever. This is the push that led to it. Okay, so they're leaving up with two zones. Then, of course, they having even a new low, right? And then maybe, again, first of all, they're trading the order flows. Obviously gets smoked like 2 times in a row. Even they're taking this zone and this zone. It just won't tell you that they took these both zones because they're getting smoked 2 times in a row. Because they think, no, the overall structure is in here. Or like in here, right? No worries. Right? Guess what? Then it makes a new low. Overall, okay, but guess what? For other people, this in here was the Koch again. Because again, overall, they're seeing still maybe an uptrend, right? And again, this is just a pullback in their opinion. And this led to the Koch, the change of character, right? Again, this is the push, they made a new low. Obviously, that's get taken out. Koch, change of character. So of course it has to be this point in here, or if it's a pullback in here also, it has to be this point also. But guess what? It gets taken out, gives a reaction. We call this literally smart money trap in here. This also, of course, very obvious one. It gets smoked. The thing is, again, structured traders have no idea of why this might be the case in here, or even this one, or this one, or this one. They literally don't have an answer. You will have multiple, countless of answers, right? But again, now just take this. Again, you maybe think, no, that's not true. My other guru told me this is not the case. Let's literally look at a real example of what is it, Cam? Like a week ago? Something like this? So let's look at this. Okay, and again, this is not making shit up. This is literally just looking at Kochs and of how they tried to make it work, right? So just left to right. So guess what? Obviously, we cut out a little bit, gave a Koch to the downside. Of course, the extreme mitigation has to work. Of course not. Going higher, right? Obviously, this is a push, gets a koch to the downside, right? So of course has to work in here for a reversal trade, of course not, right? Next thing, makes a new higher high, gives a koch, has to work to the downside. Not really, is it? And of course, no kochs, no kochs, no kochs. Other than this, obviously this is again the push that led to the high, right? Some sort of break of structures, right? Again, not literally kochs. The koch would be down here, right? Because this is the push and makes it high. So this is just a break of structure. But guess what? They thinking, of course, it should go lower. Of course, it does not, right? And guess what? Even takes out the high one more time, smoking everyone. Now, of course, this is the push that led now to the high. This is their koch, right? And of course, this leads to the all the way to left interest, because now they think, yeah, it has to make new lower lows in here, right? Guess what? Taps into here, fakes again the continuation for, yeah, order flow traders, continuation traders, gives again the koch to the upside, again tapped before that into here. And of course, they're taking the order in here, getting an immediate L in here. So now they're having a koch overall, because this is obviously the push that led to all this, having a koch. So they're looking for buys. Again, now internal kochs, right? Of course, here's their zone, getting smoked. Maybe they're taking the continuation trade after, like obviously now this becomes the koch to the downside, right? And of course, the continuation trades would be in here. Funny enough, here's the inducement just wicked it. Of course, they will not tell you. They just tell you, no, my stop was a little bit, I included spread. Then all of a sudden that their stop was in here magically, and then they just show you that they are in this trade, right? They have no idea of why they literally get stopped out, right? So now obviously this directional switch is to the downside for them, right? But maybe not. Maybe a few people still see this overall trend. And of course they see this koch, which led to a koch in here, has still imbalances, has to work, right? So they're waiting for the internal koch, right? So guess what? On an internal basis, maybe they have some sort of break of structure higher to confirm it. Obviously not, get smoked. Then having this zone, never get tapped into, they're left all confused of why they're getting not tapped in there. Then again, this is the push that led to the low, getting a koch in here. So of course this has to work out in the future. This, funnily enough, gets induced one more time, right? And of course, you see it's going over and over again. It literally doesn't even end. And again, like there's just one example where it worked, just one. And even if you say maybe okay, maybe no, I wouldn't have taken this one. Okay, what about whatever this one or this one, or like maybe whatever this one or maybe this one. If you're not taking this one or maybe this one, like what's the reasons why you haven't taken it? So where's the ones who literally worked? So maybe whatever you can find it. Where is it? Where's the just one example that literally worked? And even if you find one example, there's literally 15 losses in there. And that's this quote unquote smart money concepts in combination with structure and supply and demand overall. It doesn't work as much as they try to tell you to make you believe it works. It definitely does not work. Again, it can work if, for example, reasons we will show you later. But yeah, Cam, Sakpo, you actually want to add into something like that?
Yeah, well, also, like, what you've got to notice is even when they're waiting for their confirmed entries, right? They're not taking it straight off here. They're waiting for their internal choch. They're still getting smoked and they're still getting baited. And this is the thing. They're going, on hindsight, they can probably explain, oh yeah, I didn't take this because of XYZ. I didn't take this because of XYZ. But how do they explain, let's say you can't see all of this price action to the right. How do they explain, no, don't take this? They don't. They can't. But in hindsight, and I'm sure all of you who have traded smart money have felt this at some point